Um, I am going to be doing a review of the film ANORA while I paint my nails. So I'm using the SC10 Sheer Fantasy. It's the like gel, it's not gel like with the light, but it's, gel. And the top coat. So, alright. First off though, little life update. I am still recovering from sickness and I forced myself to just rest and relax today, but I am filming a video because I can't possibly sit still. So this is what we're getting today, is just like a chill kind of thing, and I've been wanting to talk about this movie for since I watched it, which I watched it only a few days ago, but I feel like I just want to talk about it because it was brilliant and so profound and so amazing. It deserves all the hype, seriously. And I have a bunch of notes. I have a bunch of talking points. So without further ado, I think we should just ooh, was I talking like this the whole time? Oh, y'all. Let me fix my setup first. Okay, we're gonna do a little bit of this angle so that you guys can hear me and see me. Apologies if this setup isn't great. Also, I just got out of the shower. We're just relaxing today. We're, nothing too crazy. What I loved about this movie was how classic it felt. It had this kind of feeling of nostalgia that just reminded me of a lot of older movies, I guess, that have just become classics. I think that is exactly what this movie is and will be, is a classic. Which is really cool because I feel like I'm, in a way, seeing cinematic history unfold before me. So many reasons why that is. So, first of all, I literally didn't check my phone once watching that movie. It had my full attention. It was so entertaining in every possible way. What's amazing is that I actually noticed a lot of moments of silence in this film that were very kind of telling on their own, and props to the actors because you have to portray so much just kind of through your face, and I thought that was brilliant. Not only the actual portrayal of the emotion on the face, but body language and the way that the cameras captured each angle. I think it was so perfectly done, specifically the one scene with Igor and Annie when they met. She was just kind of sitting there I don't know what to do, what the heck is happening, and he's just kind of sitting there also sort of I don't know what the heck is happening. I was so mesmerized by how they were able to portray that just moment of quietness. So one of my favorite scenes was when Annie was walking back from work. After a night of working, I assume it was probably very early in the morning. It seemed like 5 a.m. or so, because it didn't look like there were too many people around, but it was light out. Just that whole montage of her walking through the streets and to her house, and then being in bed, and her sister kind of waking her up hey, did you get milk? And she's like, no, I didn't effing get milk. I worked all night. Why would I have gotten milk, It's amazing how, some of the most mundane tasks, walking home or, just laying in bed, can be so, when used in a certain way, that sort of contrast between seeing her at work to then seeing her at home, I think it emphasizes her humanity. And then, on top of that, I think leaning into the mundane is so brilliant. I think it's so tempting. And even I do it too. I think we all do it in anything. Even me filming this video right now. Normally I would think, okay, maybe I should be putting on makeup, or I don't know, not wearing a sweatshirt, or just I don't know, maybe having a better setup than this. I don't know, but I mean, this is my mundane. This is literally, I just got the shower and got somewhat ready, not even really, just put clothes on basically and put my camera in front of me. I mean, I'm pretty sure Annie had headphones in, and maybe it was chewing gum or something. I forget what she was doing, but just very everyday kind of thing. And she had taken off her makeup and she's just going, and it's windy and it's New York, and you're going home. I think the fact that she looked like she had just gotten off of work, which might be like an obvious thing, but I think it's tempting to try to sugarcoat certain scenes or just make it sort of look more perfect, and sort of like fine-tuned, when in reality, if anything, the lack of and I mean, well, I say lack of perfection, Mikey Madison is completely stunning and absolutely beautiful, so I'm not referring to her, but just kind of I guess, what she's experiencing in that moment is what you would consider like unperfect. Like she took off her makeup and she's, just wearing comfy clothes and she's cold and she's tired and like all these very normal human things, of course, but aren't always like, that's not our like, well, one would assume to be like our perfect state, right? Like we're not done up and we're not like fully energized and whatever. But I think that is so much more real and so much more beautiful. I have my first coat on. I don't know if you can see that. I feel like my lighting's very bright right now because I'm using my mirror instead of my normal lighting, but that's okay. So, woo, yep, still sick, and I'm on a steroid, and I'm on an antibiotic, and I had to get chest x-ray to see if I had pneumonia, and I don't, which is wonderful. But anyways, back to the film. What else did I write here? Let's see. Oh my goodness, the dialogue. The dialogue, especially between Vanya and Annie, was so funny and so refreshing. That was very unique to me, and I don't know, I will be honest with you, I actually have not seen a lot of Sean Baker's work before, which I need to, clearly, but I'm not sure if that's a kind of common thing in his films, but that dialogue, I don't know if what was improv or what was completely written, but whatever it was, everything was just really funny, genuinely funny, I was sitting there kind of laughing majority of the film with my mom, which I was not expecting. And obviously, there are moments where you are so also touched and you feel like crying, and I think that being able to capture both of those feelings in a movie, I mean, what more can you really ask for, I feel like the whole point of filmmaking is to make people feel something, make people think about something, and my nose is running. I'm gonna fix that. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I think the whole point of filmmaking is to make people feel more in touch with their humanity and more in touch with their empathy. The scenes of the relationship, I felt like I was kind of watching this montage of puppy love, and it's something that is so relatable, even if you are, not a stripper and you're not a son of a billionaire, you have experienced puppy love probably, and so that's super relatable, and it was very dynamic, obviously filmed so beautifully, especially the scenes in Vegas, and you can really see them falling for each other, truly. Now, and here's where things get so interesting. In my opinion, I think that Annie genuinely loved him. I do. I really, really do. And I think that while we're not given this information, Annie kind of seems like the kind of person who doesn't fall in love easily. And what I mean by that is I think there are a lot of, not just women, but people who are more kind of guarded and, protective of themselves. And Annie seems like, well, not seems, she is. She's clearly a very strong woman. And I think that oftentimes when you are a strong person, you can be hesitant to kind of let people in, and break down that wall. And I think that she was, I wouldn't say she was fully wall broken down with Vanya, but she was getting there for sure, which is huge. And I think, well, we'll get more into like money and privilege and all that in a second, but I think that in regards to Vanya, I do think he was falling in love with her. I think though that, which we're going to talk about next, privilege can do a lot to a person, um, negative and positive. But I think in regards to this relationship, I think it's very easy to kind of throw things out the window and not fully grasp the full concept of what something is, because you don't have to. You don't have to be able to understand certain societal things, certain, well, honestly, just real life things, you know? It's like kind of the concept of like, okay, when you have like a really, really rich person, and I forget there's a term for this, but like let's say you're like a billionaire, right? And you wanna buy, I don't know, a yacht or something. I don't know the cost of yachts, but it's almost like, okay, that yacht is almost like paying, it's almost like a normal person paying for like, I don't know, like a TV. Do you know what I mean? Like it almost like the ratio of what is actually expensive and what's not, it becomes completely skewed. And I think that for Vanya, I think that that not only transcends money wise, because we can see his spending habits in the movie, but it transcends to love, unfortunately. Love and marriage and the commitment that is marriage. And I think it's partly devastating. And I don't feel bad for Vanya. I don't feel like this pity for him, but I feel sad in the sense that it's like looking at him, it's like you're never gonna know real commitment, real love, and real hardship, because he doesn't have to. You know? Like he doesn't, I don't know. I don't know if what I'm saying is fully making sense, but that's kind of my interpretation of him as a character. I also wrote down, this is funny, I said, how often young men can make us believe they're truly deeply in love with us. Audience felt tricked just as Annie did. The wall began to crumble once his parents came into the equation. So, like, what I mean by that is oftentimes, like, I've been there, you've probably been there too, where you think that a boy is, like, so in love with us and will do, like, anything for us, and then they break up with us after eating Taco Bell the next day. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just happens so abruptly and so quickly sometimes, and it's almost like it's jarring because and obviously this doesn't have to be men, like I know women do too, but it's just like a jarring feeling of like hearing, oh my god, you're the love of my life and I love you and blah 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 blah, and then literally like the next day after lunch, do you know what I mean? They're just like just poof, drop this bomb, and then you're like, what? Like I thought you left me, and you know, and I do feel like it's tough to say like black and white. She loved him more than he loved her. Like I don't know if it's as black and white as I think it's more of what I described before of like when you have a different perspective on life, when you've grown up in a different way, when you have different concepts of kind of what commitment means, then I think, well, it ends up affecting your entire life. It ends up affecting all the decisions you end up making. And I think it's more of that. And so I guess when you take that, I guess you could then say he loved her more than she loved him more than he loved her. What is rather black and white is his immaturity, clearly. It's like literally the second mommy and daddy came, he was like, oh, I never got married. Who, me? Like, wasn't me. My brother says that all the time. My brother has autism, by the way. I don't know if you guys knew that, but probably not if I didn't know that, but he's so funny. He says that all the time. He goes, wasn't me. And like, I think well, we've kind of touched on like the class privilege and everything, but I think where there's that level of manipulation and that deep, deep level of sadness is that, for one, I do not think Annie married him purely for the money. I just don't believe that. However, when you do marry somebody in a higher socioeconomic level to you, you obviously are aware and are expecting this new kind of life, right? Because that's just natural. It's kind of like, I don't really like using this savior complex, because I don't think Annie is somebody who needed to be saved. I don't think she views herself like that. But at the end of the day, like, wouldn't, I think my mom said it best when we were watching the film. My mom was like, heck, like, if I fell in love with a billionaire, like, who wouldn't, who wouldn't say yes? Like, if you're in love with them, and, knowing that he's going to change her life, and putting love aside, just knowing that he's going to also change her life in regards to monetarily, and the kind of life that maybe Annie wants kids. Maybe Annie, wants to be able to give her kids a certain life. Like, obviously we don't know those things for a fact, but like, just having these kind of new ideas and new realization of what your life can now be, because you have more money, because money is privilege at the end of the day. And money, it's gonna put her in a different social standing. I think it's cruel to strip that from her. And I think that's something that hit me even more than the love factor. And I'll say that. It hit me even more than the love factor. It's so cruel to me to give somebody this idea that their life is going to be this certain way, and then to just be like, just kidding, and take it away. It's cruel. It's cruel. It's devastating to me. And I think that The Ring, so if you guys have watched the film, the ring, obviously there was so much of a kind of importance about this ring. To me, it wasn't like this material thing. I know that Annie was like, which, like, she's just a girl, obviously she's gonna do that. I do not think she saw it as a material, like a material thing of like, I have this flashy ring. I think she saw that as a symbolism of so much more, and of the life that she will now be able to live. That ring holding that much weight, emotional weight, and having that be taken away from her was almost a visual representation of the life being stripped from her. The life that she was now going to live with Vanya. Representing the love for him, and representing, like, the life itself. So I think that's why the ring meant so much to her. This kind of goes into my final point. The ending was so profound. I was just watching the screen, and I almost didn't know what to think right away. Because again, I don't see Annie as this woman who felt like she needed this knight in shining armor to come in and save her. And no, I think it's a story of a woman who fell in love. I do. And the devastation that comes with heartbreak. Heartbreak, falling in love with the wrong person. And in the process, having to experience this false hope. And then not only that, but a slap in the face from the family that you thought you were going to be accepted by, but you weren't. And for them to further dig it into the ground that you will never be the same social standing as them. I think it was a lot of emotions when he handed her that ring. This movie to me is so representative and reminiscent of neorealism, and this kind of very realistic ending where it's not always, Cinderella gets the glass slipper and lives happily ever after with the prince. It's like Annie is kind of back to where she started, but in many ways maybe has discovered different parts of herself and went through different emotional turmoil. And we don't really know if she truly is okay, or if she is truly going to be okay. I have faith that she's going to be okay because of the kind of person she is. But I think it's a very harsh and very uncomfortable reality that we have to sit with as an audience of like, we hope she's going to be okay. I think that in regards to the physical intimacy between her and Igor. That can be seen and interpreted in so many different ways, and I know that Mikey Madison said, I'm totally paraphrasing, I don't remember word for word, but she kind of said that that scene, how you interpret that scene, is a representation of kind of how you view yourself and how your relationship, I think, to intimacy. And I thought that was so fascinating because I think it is absolutely true. I don't think that Annie in that moment felt that she had to do that, like had to initiate intimacy. I don't think it was stemming from like that at all. I think it was more of a kind of almost trying to thank him and express the emotions that she's holding, and maybe not really knowing how else to do that other than give her body, because that is what she is used to doing for work. I think there's that kind of separation between like physical intimacy and emotional intimacy. As I said in the beginning of the video, I think she's a very emotionally guarded person. So I think letting Vanya in and having that emotional intimacy was very new for her. And I'm not sure if she was starting to feel that for Igor, and it was almost this like really kind of protective instinct of like, oh my god, I can't go there again. I can't get hurt again. I'm not sure. It could mean there's so many different things that could be going through her head. What I gathered from that scene is that I don't even think she knew in the moment what she was going through. At least like I don't think she could like write it down on paper in words, you know what I mean? Like I think she had these kind of bodily reactions, and it is often representative of the subconscious. I think that was a really beautiful and very real thing to display. So, amazing movie. Incredible, incredible, incredible. I want to say I'm at a loss for words, but obviously I just like had word scramble for the past 30 minutes. I think it is. It's going to be a long video. I'll try to like chop it up and everything, but anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that review, and I did finish my nails. If you could see them, they're just like faint, like very like light pink. I don't know if I want to do a third coat. I might just do a top coat and leave it because I don't like, I've tried painting my nails multiple coats before and then it just never dries, and then it's like kind of annoying. So I'll probably just leave it like this, let it dry a bit, put on a top coat, and call it a day, and edit this. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'd love to chit chat. If anybody like has any thoughts on the movie, I'd love to hear them, so leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in my next video.